Page 34, music box. Here we get ledger lines above the treble clef. You need to know these eventually. You need to just memorize them. We're only going up to 3 ledger lines here. So I can usually look at music and I can tell if there's 3. I don't have to count them. I can see there's 3. And that's why I say just memorize those. When it starts getting above 3 ledger lines, more than that, I tend to have to count them because then I don't know how many's there. And when I do that, then I'll take a pencil and write in the name of the note so I don't have to keep figuring it out every time. But these, in my opinion, you really ought to just learn these. Well, 2 ledger lines is C. Now let's look at the C's. I consider C kind of a benchmark. Middle C is on a ledger line and it's between the staves. So it's 1 ledger line below treble, it's 1 ledger line above bass, middle C. Well, on treble clef, 2 ledger lines above the staff is a C 2 octaves up. So it's here. That's 2 ledger lines. Well, on bass clef, 2 ledger lines below bass clef is a C 2 octaves down. So it's here. So I kind of got these C's covered for the ledger line. So it's 2 above, 2 below, or the 1 in the middle. And from there I can figure out if I need to where the others are, although I still think it's better if you just memorize these. So let's go through music box here. Now here we have treble clef in both staves. 3/4 time signature, I'll have to count to 3. And the key signature is 3 sharps, which is A major in this case. Make sure you can do the A major scale. I got a video on that scale. Go do that at least 1 octave up and down. 2 octaves would be better, but if you don't know the scale, don't push it. 1 octave is good enough for now. Right hand first, let's check these. Now the sharps in here, you know, is an F sharp and a C sharp. Those are always the first 2, if there's 2. Well, the third one is always a G sharp then. Because the sharps are always in a particular order in the key signature, and that's what it is. So we're using these. If you know the scale, you just play the notes in the scale. You don't have to worry about which are sharp and which are not. Yeah. So right hand, your 3rd finger is up here on C sharp. That puts it here. 1 and 2 and 3 and I'm just rotating here. Crossover. Actually, because you can just get the thumb out of the way and reach down if you want, because I don't have to connect it. 2nd line, D. That's fun. For the most part, that's the piece. Look on page 35, the last couple measures, you're here, and then the notes are written here. The last 2 notes, there's a C sharp A, but it has an 8 VA above the staff, so you go up an octave, so you go up to here. If you have a short keyboard, you don't have those notes, just play the highest ones you have. And the left hand, well, we have the A chord. Remember, we're in treble clef up here. It's an A major chord here, and then 3rd major is the 1 sus4 chord here. What we're doing here is we're changing the middle note. That's all we're doing. At the bottom of the page 34, the last line, it's a D, C sharp, or a B, D sharp. So I'll get the notes eventually. It just takes a little time. Here, and then and you reach down. It's 1, 2, 3. I know there's a rest. You can move if you want, but I prefer to feel my way around if I can. So here, that's all it is. It's 2. And then you're back to the A again. Then on page 35, the last 2 lines. You're here. And then a G natural, because there's a G sharp in the key signature. It's here. Got 1, 2. It's a 5, 2, 1. And then you can go here or here. You can do a 4, 2, 1 or a 5, 3, 1. And then an F natural. And then I recommend for the last line, if your hand's big enough, do it 5, 2. Here. That way your thumb is available for the D. Now if you got little hands, you can't do that. You got to do that. But otherwise, I prefer that. And then a 3, 2 on the end. Here. And then the last 2 notes, or last 2 things you're playing, is an E here, here, broken chord, except it has an 8VA above the staff. So you go up here. This is where I'm talking about on the 8VA. When I keep saying it only applies to the staff it's next to, that if they want both hands to move, they either have to put the 8VA in both staves like they do here, or they have to put in a note, both hands. Either one will do it. So this is an example of putting it in both staves. Then put the hands together here, well, here. Now, one thing about this, playing way up here high or playing real low, either way, the point is you're not in the middle. You're off to the side. Keep sitting straight up. Don't lean whichever way you're going. Sit straight up and turn this way and reach as best you can. So here I'm turning and I'm reaching. So it's up here. And this puts my hand at a weird angle to the keyboard. Well, I'm sorry, that's piano playing. It's so. So you go through and put the hands together. At the end, on bottom of page 35, last line, you're here. Rest. During the rest, both hands got to come up. So you got to know where you're going. Right hand's going to go to here. Left hand's going to go to here. So you got one beat to do it. You can move both hands at one time. That's tricky. Or since you got a beat, you can do it one hand and then the other. The hand that's in top, that's the leading hand, move that first if you're going to do it one hand at a time. Don't do the other because then the hand gets in the way. So it's here. It's however you want to do it. I don't care. But here, too, I tend, if I have time like that, I got time to get both hands up there. And then once I'm in the vicinity, then I can kind of fine tune the aim and get the right note. So once you have the notes down and you get rid of the hesitations, you can go slow, but it's got to be a steady beat. Then we add the articulation. These staccatos in the right hand, you can use wrist staccato if you like. Since this is really, really soft, I tend to use finger staccato. I use the smaller muscles with the softer, and all I'm doing is plucking the keys. I'm not trying to go up and down with it. The thumb has to go up and down because it's sideways, but it's here. And it's a very small motion here. Here, it's more the finger muscles than the weight that's doing it, but I'm trying to keep loose wrist. So there, and the left hand you play it as connected as you can until the bottom of page 34, you have staccatos here, here, and at the bottom 35, you get staccatos in the left hand. This finger plucking takes a little bit of practice, but it's good practice, and it's something you can do when you practice the scale. Try doing and you should do it in both hands. Just as you're doing the scale, you can practice that. Then the dynamics, well, they apply to the melody, which is the right hand, and it's very soft. It's a music box. These chords need to be as soft as you can get them, just super soft. Because as I'm playing this, I want to hear that. Now in the second line, you go up, maybe to soft and back down here, a little louder. Now it's softer. Back down to very soft. And you're staying in that area. Get to know it, and you can kind of play around with the dynamics a little bit. Over on page 35, the last couple lines, you can go back up. Never go above moderately soft. This is a music box. They don't play loud. You're always on the soft side. As far as the speed goes, allegretto's in the middle, but that's the flow of the piece. It's not the speed of the beat. So bum, 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 bum. Something along in there, in my opinion. I'll play it at a different speed every time I play it, so it's a range. It's how you feel it. And then finally the pedal. Oh boy. The pedal can really destroy this. We got to be careful. If I pedal this the way they're showing, this is what it sounds like. You get the idea that they're blending it all together. Now, in a sense, a music box will do that because the music box doesn't have dampers to stop the sound, and the notes generally don't ring out very long, and that's the problem. On a piano, the notes ring out a long time, where a music box they don't. So in order to get this to sound more like a music box, in the first place, we need to change the pedal whenever the harmony changes. In the left hand, these first two measures, and then it changes to that. Change the pedal there. When you're changing these chords to a different chord in the left hand, change the pedal. And at the beginning of the second line on page 34, you can go ahead and change the pedal there. I guess I'm changing the pedal about every 2 measures instead of the full line like they're showing. However, I need it to sound more like a music box. So, yeah, if you have an electronic piano, you have to experiment. Maybe there's a setting where you can make it sound like a music box, I don't know. But on an acoustic piano, what I want to do is I want to just barely move the pedal, just barely. I'm not pushing it all the way down, it's just barely moving the, I want the dampers to just come just slightly off the strings, just barely. Because all the way off it's this. But if I can just get it a little bit off, it rings out for a little bit and I get the overtones, but it doesn't ring it out and smear it all together. And that's what I'm after. And so throughout this whole piece, I'm going to pedal this, change it every 2 measures, but I'm only just barely touching the pedal. I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's what I'm recommending. It takes practice this is a special kind of pedaling we're doing. This isn't the normal pedaling, but in order to get it to sound like a music box, that's what we do. And then on the staccatos at the end of each page, you don't pedal those. That's fine, you don't need to pedal those. However, if you want it to sound like a music box, you do. You go ahead and pedal those too. Just like you're doing, so it just rings out just a hair like a music box would. It wouldn't stop short. Music box doesn't sound like that. It rings out more. So it rings out just a little bit. You experiment with your pedal. Every piano's a little different. You have to try the things out and see what you can do. Rest, rest. I'd like to play it with you slowly. Let's double check the notes and the rhythms. I will attempt to pedal it as I suggested. I'll give us 3 counts, and I'm not going to do any dynamics. I'm just going to play the notes, and I will go really, really slow. 1 and ready and go and. 2 and 3 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and. 1 and 2 and. 1 rest. rest, rest. One and two and three and. One, two, and three and. One, two, three. One, rest. Two, three, off.